Vampires. Ancient, terrifying, and oddly familiar. For centuries, these bloodthirsty creatures have haunted human imagination, appearing in legends, books, and films. But where do they really come from? The idea of a vampire isn't new. From Eastern European folklore to ancient Mesopotamia, cultures around the world share stories of undead beings who rise at night to feed on the living. They're not always charming or romantic like in movies. In the old stories, vampires were bloated, pale, and smelled like death. They dug themselves out of graves and targeted family members first. But regardless of where the tale came from, one thing stayed the same. Vampires hunt humans for blood. So how exactly do they hunt? What makes them so deadly? And, most importantly, how do you stop one? In this video, we'll break down the full anatomy of a vampire. How they stalk their prey, what their bite does to a human, their terrifying powers, and the few rare things that can destroy them. Get ready, because once you understand how vampires operate, you'll never walk alone at night the same way again. The hunt, how vampires choose their victims. Vampires are patient hunters. They don't attack in chaos. They wait for the perfect moment. Most legends agree on one thing. Vampires prefer to hunt at night. The darkness protects them, but it also helps them blend in with the environment. You won't hear them approach. You won't see their shadow. You'll just feel cold. They are said to choose victims who are isolated. People walking alone, sleeping with their windows open, or already sick and weak. Vampires have an uncanny ability to sense blood. Some folklore says they can hear your heartbeat from several meters away. Others claim they can smell fear, literally detecting changes in your body's chemistry. They're not reckless. They study patterns. Some accounts say a vampire will watch a village or town for days before selecting a target. They look for gaps, moments when someone is alone, vulnerable, or far from help. Once chosen, the victim is marked. In some stories, vampires hypnotize their prey, making them docile or confused. In others, they use shape-shifting, turning into bats, wolves, or even mist to get closer. The goal is simple: feed without a fight, leave no trace. And once they strike, it's almost always too late. The kill-feeding time. When a vampire strikes, it's fast, almost surgical. There's no screaming, no dramatic chase. Just silence. The bite is their signature. 2 puncture wounds, clean and precise. But it's not just teeth, it's chemistry. According to folklore, vampire saliva contains a mild anesthetic. The victim feels a prick, maybe a chill, and then nothing. By the time they realize what's happening, the blood is already flowing. Some stories suggest vampires don't drink randomly. They avoid diseased or poisoned blood. Healthy victims taste better and keep them stronger for longer. A typical feeding can take just a few minutes. The vampire drains enough to satisfy, but not always enough to kill. In some cases, the victim wakes up weak, confused, and with no memory of the attack. That's why legends describe survivors who slowly waste away over days or weeks. Others aren't so lucky. A full feeding, draining all the blood, leaves the body pale, cold, and lifeless. These are the cases where people speak of mysterious deaths or vanishing illnesses. And sometimes, if the vampire chooses, the victim doesn't die, they change. Some traditions say the transformation begins with a full moon. Others claim it's the vampire's blood that seals the deal. But one thing is consistent. If a vampire wants you to join them, you will. Feeding isn't just survival, it's control. And once the blood bond is formed, there's no turning back. Vampire powers. What makes them so dangerous? Vampires aren't just predators, they're supernatural. Their power goes far beyond bloodlust. In almost every myth, they have a terrifying list of abilities that give them the upper hand. First, there's immortality. Vampires don't age. Once turned, they remain locked in the same body for centuries. No sickness, no decay. Then comes superhuman strength and speed. They can overpower grown adults with ease. Some stories claim they move so fast, the human eye can't even track them. But their most dangerous weapon isn't physical, it's psychological. Vampires are often said to have hypnotic control over their victims. A glance, a whisper, or even just presence can cloud your mind. You stop thinking. You follow. They can shapeshift, not just into bats, but also wolves, fog, or even take on the appearance of someone else. And then there's regeneration. If wounded, a vampire can heal quickly, sometimes instantly. A stab, a bullet, even broken bones won't stop them unless it's something truly fatal. All of this makes fighting a vampire nearly impossible. They don't need to break down your door. They can already be inside. And when you finally notice something's wrong, they're already behind you. These powers aren't just tools. They're what let a vampire blend into your world, feed in secret, and vanish like they were never there. Vampire weaknesses. What can kill a vampire? Vampires aren't invincible. Every legend has its list of vampire weaknesses, some symbolic, some surprisingly specific. The most well-known? Sunlight. In many myths, the sun burns their flesh or turns them to ash instantly. Why? Because vampires represent the night, decay, and secrecy. Sunlight exposes and destroys them. Then there's garlic. This common kitchen ingredient shows up in vampire stories from Europe, where it was believed to ward off evil spirits. The strong smell was thought to cleanse the air and keep dark forces away. Holy symbols, like crosses, holy water, and sacred ground, are said to repel vampires, especially in Christian-based folklore. These symbols represent purity and divine power, the opposite of the undead curse. In some cultures, decapitation or burning the body were necessary to ensure the vampire wouldn't rise again. Mirrors don't reflect them. Dogs howl at their presence, and if they aren't invited in, they can't enter a home. Today, vampires are mostly fiction, but the fear that created them, that's still very real. Across the world, people still report mysterious deaths, strange figures in the night, or bodies buried under unusual conditions. Are they just stories? Or have vampires simply gotten better at hiding? One thing's for sure, every legend starts somewhere, and sometimes it's better not to know what's watching you after dark. If you enjoyed this breakdown of vampire lore, hit like, subscribe, and let us know. Would you survive the night?